You're watching Color 10 News at 10 in high definition.
Gas prices here in Springfield tonight are among the highest in the state and the region. Hello again, everybody. I'm David Oliver.
And I'm Ashley Ketz. Drivers wonder why are prices climbing and who's profiting. Color 10's Laura Kennedy is live with some answers tonight. Laura.
Well, the approaching summer season could be a reason for the high gas prices like those here at Casey's. The demand for gas is pushing up the value of gas in the futures market. But I spoke with one local gas station owner who doesn't believe there's one particular reason for the increase. He just says it's definitely affecting his business. Chip Wagoner owns Brentwood Service Center. It's the last full-service gas station in Springfield.
41.
Thursday, he raised the price for a gallon of unleaded to $3.84. But he says that's below what he pays his supplier.
We're losing money right now. I have had a 34.5-cent increase this week alone. We have only raised it on the pump 25 cents.
Chip says he makes a minuscule profit before a 2% credit card fee.
We rarely make 5 cents a gallon, so we a lot of times lose money on a credit card sale.
Chip says the only way he makes enough profit to stay in business is because of his full service aspect.
It's terrible, but it's kind of the gas is a loss leader to bring people in.
Chip explains that what he pays depends on the market and location. Gas is cheaper in Little Rock because of the area's particular supply chain.
I believe it's Zone 2, which is the Gulf Coast oil, and we are in Zone 3, which is a different zoning, and it's a 40-cent difference at the pipeline.
And that's no surprise to customer Jeff Luther.
You know, they keep raising the price on them, so they have to raise the price on us.
Gas prices have risen 40 cents since the last time he filled up his car.
I know there are people that we're friends with that are, and so, you know, that are having to cut back.
Chip says it's a challenge to forecast the number on the pump, but he does expect it to keep climbing. And according to TripAdvisor, a third of Americans will be traveling this Memorial Day weekend, and half of them will be driving. But their surveys show that the gas prices going up nationwide won't be affecting people's travel habits because the gas prices nationwide are actually 15 cents lower this year than they were this time last year. Reporting live, Laura Kennedy, Color 10 News.
Very interesting, Laura. Thank you so much. Jamie Warner is tracking some mild temperatures tonight in our Ozarks First forecast.
And it's kind of damp out there too. You know, we've seen the mist sort of redevelop across a large portion of the area. Here's a look at temperatures. They're in the low 60s. They're not going to drop a lot more. We might see an overnight low of about 60 degrees here in Springfield. On radar, you see this big ball of green. Well, what radar is detecting is a lot of low-level moisture, and we're getting those fine little raindrops, mist or drizzle out there right now across a large portion of the area. The heavier shower activity has actually moved on out. We had some toward Highway 63. It has now exited the region, and the showers that we had earlier this evening in southwest Missouri, too, have since dissipated. But down to our south, we do still find quite a bit of shower and thunderstorm activity and even the risk of severe weather. It looks like that threat is beginning to diminish now across southern Arkansas and northern areas of Louisiana. Here's your Friday forecast. We're going to start off with cloudy skies, probably some mist and fog out there. Maybe give yourself a little bit more time to get into work safely. Mostly cloudy at lunchtime. I think we'll get some afternoon sun with the clouds, and that should help push temperatures to near 80 degrees. A very summer-like weekend forecast. Severe weather threat early next week.
Jamie, thanks. Tonight, new at 10, an environmental group is raising new concerns about city utilities' planned dumping of coal ash. The ash is what's left over after burning coal. And part of a bill Missouri lawmakers passed yesterday let city utilities skip a step in trying to get a new site to dump the waste. Color 10's Kevin Schwaller found supporters of the exemption say it's about saving money and practicality.
And critics say it's about environmental and groundwater safety. The current coal ash landfill has more space nearby, and CU wants to use it. So far, the state has said it doesn't think any of the sites CU proposed were suitable. And with 5 to 7 years left before CU needs more space for the coal ash, it's trying to get the process of finding a new spot started. Step 1, under this bill's language, is to skip to step 2. This is where City Utilities dumps its coal ash, near this power plant. Now a new bill would let CU go ahead with its own investigation to see if it will be safe to dump coal ash in an unused part of its property. That's after the Department of Natural Resources already said it didn't think it was a good idea.
What we're doing here with this exemption, if you want to call it that, is basically kicking it up a notch to that next step to where we can do more direct investigations of these 6 sites that are on that property that we already have.
This sinkhole is less than 2 miles from the power plant, and that's one of the Sierra Club's concern, that the land around here is prone to sinkholes and is often porous.
Whatever you put on here on the ground gets into the groundwater.
That's Chapter Director of Missouri Sierra Club, John Hickey.
That is why the Department of Natural Resources has said you shouldn't be allowed to put a coal ash landfill on this topography.
State Representative Lincoln Huff helped with the exemption.
These facilities are monitored and built to specific specifications that allow them to be utilized and be safe for the environment, as well as protect the consumers that City Utilities also provides water for.
And the Environmental Protection Agency is looking to regulate coal ash, saying coal ash contains contaminants like mercury, cadmium, and arsenic associated with cancer and various other serious health effects. Without proper protections, these contaminants can leach into groundwater and often migrate to drinking water sources, posing public significant health concerns.
We'll stay on the story for sure. Thanks, Kevin. One of the 5 people charged with killing an Ozarks couple has now pleaded guilty. Philip Friend reached a deal with prosecutors admitting to second-degree murder for the deaths of Rusty and Rebecca Porter. You'll recall the couple disappeared back in April of 2011. 3 months later, their remains were found in a remote part of Taney County. Philip Friend's sentencing date has not been set.
Also new tonight, meet the newest college graduates. Tonight, Ozarks Technical Community College held its graduation at JQH Arena. A record 725 students walked in the ceremony. U.S. Senator from Missouri Roy Blunt delivered tonight's commencement address. Meanwhile, students at Missouri State are in the process of moving out. This year, though, they can drop things off they no longer want or need that will help charities. Organizations accept food, furniture, clothing, and small appliances. Those drop-off bins will be around campus through Saturday.
Meantime, Missouri State University's faculty and staff are closer to some pay raises. Color 10's Justin Doherty attended the Board of Governors meeting today to find out how much they could earn.
Members are discussing a 2% raise for full-time faculty and staff. Missouri State is Springfield's 5th largest employer with more than 2,600 employees, and about 2,000 of those employees could see more money on their pay stubs next year.
Several years in a row there were no raises at all, and so we're playing catch-up.
For the past 5 years, state funds have been flatlined.
It's very nice now that the economy is doing better to actually have an increase in state appropriations rather than a decrease.
An increase in state funds combined with a record enrollment and increased student fees.
It's a part of growing into our name.
Missouri State President Cliff Smart sees this as the right time to invest in the instructors.
Put most of the new money back into our employees who are good, hard-working people that have been without a raise for several years.
Smart has recommended to the university's Board of Governors a 2% raise to all full-time faculty and staff employed before April 1st. For example, the Missouri State faculty average salary is $70,000. Multiply that by the 2% raise, and that equals $1,400, which could become cash flow and give the city of Springfield numbers it hasn't seen since 2008.
We are one of the engines that drives the economy in Southwest Missouri.
Generally, when people have a higher spendable income, they'll spend their money, and that generates sales tax.
City of Springfield's Director of Finance, Mary Mannix-Decker, sees the ultimate benefit in sales tax, which helps the city and shows signs of an improving economy.
With that tax, we're able to provide a higher level of service.
In 2008, the city's sales tax was right around a total of $40 million. Now, the city estimates that total could once again be up around $40 million with the help of the Missouri State pay raise.
For several years, I know that a lot of organizations had employees' pay frozen. So it's nice to see these increases starting to come back.
In addition, last January, the university approved a separate 2% raise to full-time faculty and staff. So when the vote takes place next month, if approved, it will equal a 4% raise in a single calendar year.
Justin, thanks. And also, by the way, if the Board of Governors approves the raise in June, they would take effect July 1st.
Today was the final day of classes for Springfield Public Schools. That means more than 23,000 kids are now on summer vacation. Summer school starts on Monday. The next school year begins August 14th. A healthcare provider has some big plans at the site of a once popular hotel.
Yeah, the Branson Inn will soon be demolished.
It was the go-to place for vacations.
Tonight, the health concern currently at the site that has workers in protective gear before Mercy turns it into a clinic.
And do you follow Color 10 on Facebook? Here's how you can do that. Look for the Facebook icon on ozarksfirst.com and like our page.
Now back to more local news here at 10. A hotel is making way for a medical clinic.
Workers are cleaning out the Branson Inn. They're outfitted in full body suits. That's because of asbestos there. 5 buildings will be brought down for what will become a new Mercy Clinic Branson. Crews are taking out recyclables and other materials, including every single tile in the motel that contains asbestos. The historic Branson Inn is an icon for many families as it sits in one of the highest points of the city.
For a lot of families, it was the go-to place for vacations. So we've had a lot of comments from people saying that, you know, they miss it, they love the memories, but they understand it's time for it to be demolished.
The new Mercy Clinic will provide urgent care, pharmacy, imaging, and surgery services. The demolition, though, won't likely happen until early fall.
Well, the Council of Churches of the Ozarks will continue serving the vulnerable in our community thanks to some generous businesses. Representatives from local businesses and foundations watched today as a $47,000 check was unveiled as part of the Power of Together Challenge. The annual fundraising campaign benefits the Council's 9 agencies, which, of course, help children, seniors, and people with disabilities. The challenge funds allows the Council of Churches to match any gift more than $100, dollar for dollar. A Color 10 tradition turns 10 this weekend. The Ozarks Red Ribbon Ride hits the decade mark on Saturday, but it's going to happen at a new location. H Project of the Ozarks is moving the event from the Galloway Station, which of course closed last month, up the street to Metropolitan Grill on East Battlefield. Color 10 is a proud sponsor, as well as the Branson Airport, which is auctioning off 2 round-trip tickets. The 30 and 50-mile bike ride start at 8:30 a.m. and the family fun ride will kick off at about 10:30. as usual. There's going to be prizes for riders after the ride there again at Metropolitan Grill on Battlefield. Proceeds benefit AIDS Project of the Ozarks, their patients and their families. All the details can be found with us right now at ozarksfirst.com.
Here is Jamie. He's monitoring some storms, Jamie, but at least they're not in our area.
No, these storms that we're looking at here on radar, those are to the south. Severe weather really looks like it's starting to wind down across southern Arkansas and northern Louisiana, but we will see a resurgence of severe weather, I think, later in the weekend and into next week. We'll take a look at that pattern, and we'll take a look at the hot summer-like weekend forecast coming up.
And now weather with Color 10 News Chief Meteorologist Jamie Warner.
All right, well, not so nice outside right now. It's cool, it's damp. We got areas of drizzle across a large portion of the Ozarks right now, and it's just not very nice outside. Well, things are going to get better here over the next 24 hours. Now, right now on radar, what we find is not necessarily much in the way of shower activity, but radar doesn't do a good job picking up drizzle, and there's plenty of it out there. I've stepped outside from time to time this evening, and every time it's still going on here in the Springfield area and in other areas as well. The rough stuff, though, is really down to our south. Southern Arkansas, northern areas of Louisiana. We actually had a couple of different cells, one tracking to the south of Shreveport and then another one tracking right along the state line here. Those were the two storms that had the greatest potential for any tornado threat. No reports of tornadoes, not with tonight's little outbreak of severe weather, just reports of high winds as well as some large hail, especially with that storm that tracked southeast of the Shreveport area. So that's good news, allowing folks back to the west in Texas to kind of begin to recoup after yesterday's severe weather. Of course, we had had at least 12 tornadoes in that outbreak. One of them was the EF4 that hit Granbury, 6 fatalities with that tornado, and then there was another storm that hit Cleburne. That one rated at EF3 in strength. So here's our upper level low. Out west, briefly want to say, here's the trough that's beginning to get carved out in the western U.S., and this is just the beginnings of what will likely be some active weather for the midsection of the country later this weekend and beyond into early next week. As far as this upper level low is concerned, it's going to continue to scoot on by just to the southeast of the Ozarks, or sort of clipping the southeastern corner of the Ozarks, and that's where we have the best chance at any additional shower activity overnight tonight. I think we'll probably start tomorrow off with cloudy skies, maybe a little mist and fog, and then as we work through the morning, it'll probably be a slow process, but as we work through the morning and get into the afternoon, we'll start seeing holes develop in the clouds. We'll get some sun, and that'll push temperatures up to near 80. And then the weekend forecast looking mainly dry and kind of hot and humid. Highs in the mid to upper 80s will challenge record highs both Saturday and Sunday. And again, we're going to have that summer-like humidity as well. So what that will mean is we'll have that soupy air mass in place for when that trough makes its way into the western U.S. And it's going to take on an orientation which will tend to push a little bit more in the way of cold air upstairs in the atmosphere over this warm, moist layer of air near the surface. So we're going to have a lot of instability. And then we're also going to have ample shear. So these are ingredients that we have not seen much this past spring. We're going to find it with this setup developing this weekend and beyond into next week. And that means we're going to have a pretty good chance for rounds of severe weather impacting the midsection of the country. And as far as the Ozarks are concerned, the first potential threat to the area would be Sunday night, probably late in the night. But I'm not too worried about this. I think most of that stays to our west. Monday, a different story. That's probably when we have the greatest threat for severe weather. It may actually hold off, though, until late Monday night, maybe well into the overnight hours. But all modes of severe weather will be possible. And then on Tuesday, kind of depends on what happens on Monday, but on Tuesday it looks like that severe weather threat will likely shift to the southeast before eventually moving out with the cold front so that we see quiet weather returning on Wednesday. So some active weather, I think, on the way for the region. Overnight tonight, 60, we'll find, again, cloudy skies, drizzle, maybe some fog developing as we work through the rest of the night. Cloudy skies, mist early on, giving way to some sun as we get into the afternoon tomorrow. High of about 80 degrees. Best chance for any isolated shower activity will be over toward Highway 63. There's your weekend forecast. Very warm, stormy pattern setting up for Monday and Tuesday, and then back to less humid and slightly cooler conditions for the middle portion of next week. You can see Wednesday mostly sunny and a high of 79.
We really haven't had severe weather much this spring.
A couple of little forays. That's really about it. But the severe weather season is not done. It really doesn't end here in this area until long about the middle of June.
Okay. Thanks, Jamie. Well, the Missouri State Bears open up another tough Valley baseball weekend.
Dan Lucy's coming up in sports. Highlights from Creighton and news on a big money race in Lebanon.
Now, the Chevy Dealer Sports Report with Dan Lucy.
The Drury Panthers opened up the NCAA Division II baseball tournament tonight at Meadow Park. Afternoon rain pushing back the start of this contest nearly 3 hours. It's the second time that Drury's earned a berth to the NCAAs. Tonight facing Lewis, a fellow team from the Great Lakes Valley Conference. Drury had its ace, Will Landschaft, on the mound tonight, and he would open the game by striking out Alex Slavry right there, and then he would get Jake Murray looking at strike 3 in the first inning. But in the top of the second inning, the Flyers would get to him. Ben Albano would take this one deep to left. It would go over the wall and gone. That's a home run to make it 1-0 Lewis. Right now it is a 5-2 Lewis lead in the sixth inning. The Missouri State Bears opened up the last regular season Valley Series before the postseason tournament. Keith Gutton's Bears in Omaha to take on the Creighton Blue Jays. Nick Petrie on the hill for the Bears, only 5 strikeouts away from 300 for his career. Jays get to him in the first. Eric Staley would go deep to left. This one would go off the fence. Brad McCowan comes in to score to make it 1-0 Creighton. Petrie settles down from there. He strikes out Tommy Strunk looking. He finished with 7 strikeouts, so he got his 300. It was 1-1 in the sixth inning when Luke Voigt would single to center. Eric Charret comes in to score, and it was a 2-1 Missouri State lead. But Creighton would tie it up. Jake Peters singles to center. McCowan comes in. He heads for home, play at the plate, and he is safe, and the Jays would rally late to beat Missouri State 4-3. St. Louis Cardinals have been one of the hottest teams in baseball in the month of May. The Cardinals went into this afternoon's game with the Mets with an 11-2 record this month. That winning streak has St. Louis on top of the National League Central going into the action. Cincinnati lurking just 2.5 games back. St. Louis looking for a 4-game series sweep. Bottom of the second, Pete Kozma drops this in front of Rick Ankiel in center, and Yadier Molina comes in to make it 1-0 Cardinals. But the rest of the afternoon would belong to New York. 1-1 third inning. David Wright would single to right. Carlos Beltran misplays it out there. Daniel Murphy scores. Mets were on top 2-1. Jonathan Neese was throwing BBs for the Metropolitans. He gets Ty Wigington looking at strike 3 right here in the fifth inning. New York would add to its lead in the sixth. Again, it's Wright. Again, he doubles to right center. Murphy comes in to score to make it 3-1 New York. It was 4-1 eighth inning when John Buck would give him insurance. A single to center. Lucas Duda comes in to score. Mets win 5-2. So the Cardinals are 26-14. They'll open a weekend series with the Brewers tomorrow night. The Royals had the night off. Springfield Cardinals wrapped up a 4-game series in Tulsa tonight. Springfield looking for its 5th win in a row. 4-game series sweep of the Drillers. Scoreless second. Check it out. Tulsa's Jose Gonzalez. Check out Adam Merker. Oh, for the wall. Melker for the Springfield. He's okay. It's still a home run. 1-0 Drillers. Tulsa flashing the leather, top of the third. Mike O'Neill lines out the third. Jason Langle's over the first for the double play. Springfield had the bases loaded in the sixth inning, but Ruben Gotay would ground into this double play. That would end the inning and the threat. Still 1-0. Cards tied it up in the ninth. Right now it's 1-1 in the 12th inning. Ozark High School has a new girls basketball coach tonight. The Tigers have hired David Brewer, who spent the last 6 seasons at Stratford, where he led the Lady Indians to their first 20-win season since 1976. Before that, the Republic native coached boys basketball at both Winona and Seymour. And there's a big racing weekend on tap at the I-44 Speedway in Lebanon, the inaugural Masters of the Pros 144. This big money race will be Saturday night on the 3/8 asphalt oval. $8,000 going to the winner. Some big names coming into Lebanon, including Bubba Pollard, Chase Elliott, and Ross Kenseth. Chase is Bill Elliott's kid. Ross's dad is NASCAR Sprint Cup Series driver Matt Kenseth. Both Chase and Ross are cutting their teeth on the late model series around the country. Last weekend was special for the Kenseths. Matt won in Darlington, and Ross won the South Boston 150.
It was really cool to see that how fast news travels from South Boston, Virginia down to Darlington, South Carolina. They're already talking about it, and it was cool to see him get a win. He was really excited about it. Being around it since I've been really young, I haven't really known much else, and I've always been passionate about it. I've always been really interested in it, and so it's been something I've wanted to do since pretty much day one.
That race Saturday night starts at 7 up in Lebanon.
And here's hoping that Drury can rally.
Yeah, they need to come back down 3 runs, about 3 innings left in the game.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
We'll be right back.
Here are tonight's winning lottery numbers.
A lot of us need to mow, but we need the rain to stop.
Who's got to mow?
I took care of my mowing this morning.
He finally went out and got himself a mower so he can mow his grass.
For a disruption of the neighborhood by just getting so tall.
Well, it looks like, David, you're going to get that opportunity to mow maybe tomorrow afternoon or over the weekend.
All right. Thanks, Jamie.
Good news there. All right. Thanks for joining us. Good night.